to a new episode of Comadres y Comics. This is episode 220. We are your hosts. I'm Sarah.
I'm Kristen.
And I'm Jen.
Welcome back, everybody. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
I saw you add the wave this time.
A new thing. Something to try out.
Yes, definitely. So,
I just saw this thing right here.
you guys were talking about movies earlier. Like, are there any recommendations? Anything you guys have, like, your eye on?
Yes. Well, me and a friend, her birthday's like tomorrow. And she wants to go see Furiosa. And at first I like Chris Hemsworth and I like Anna Taylor-Joy. I think she's like super beautiful and she's a great actress. But I love Mad Max Fury Road. Like, I love this movie. Not only do I own the Steelbook edition of it, I own the fucking French Steelbook edition of it as well. And
Steelbook edition.
it's when they make those really like nice, like the case that it comes in is like an actual like metal tin box.
Oh, okay, yeah, I've seen
Yeah. And they usually do them as like limited like edition runs and stuff like that. I really, really want to get the Into the Spider-Verse one, but it's like almost $100 right now. So IDK, maybe one day I will be lucky. I had bought one, and then I don't know what happened to it. I'm pretty sure my little brother has it, and he won't tell me that he has it.
And is there
Oh.
like special extra stuff that is on Steelbook edition?
Yeah, sometimes because like outside of like it having like a really like nice like like a collector's thing basically, it like also like bonus features and stuff like that. Sometimes they used to have like it used to be like the DVD version and then a Blu-ray version and then like sometimes like a third disc of like extra features and stuff like that. Not a lot of them are like that now. Now it's just Blu-ray, like DVD, Blu-ray, like high def thing. And I don't really care because my PlayStation is my Blu-ray player. So yeah, and it's but anyways, I love Mad Max Fury Road. I love the character of Furiosa, and I just don't know how if anybody could do it, it's Miller, the creator of the Mad Max series, because he made Mad Max, and then Thunderdome and like Fury Road and like basically like that entire franchise. So he's like let the man cook. I get that. Like let him cook. But at the same time, I don't know why, but this feels like a franchise cash grab. And I'm just like, I don't know how I feel about it. And it's always felt like the Mad Max series has always the timeline is weird. It's never been like very linear. But we do know like the first one is the first one. And then all the others, they could take place sometime in between, sometime afterward. There's definitely, but I feel like there's always been a sense of progression forward, like in time. It's like it could be anywhere in the time, but so it happens in the future. Whereas this one is very, very specifically a prequel and like the rise of Furiosa, and I'm just like, I don't need to. Like, do I need to know? But at the same time, I'm just like, I kind of want to know. So I'll go see it. We'll see how it is. But all this to say, 2 weeks ago, I saw an A24 movie called I Saw the TV Glow. And oh my God. You know what? It was meant to be. It's Pride Month. And this movie is queer. Like, not just in the like, oh, like, OMG, it's gay. Like, no, it's like fucking weird. So, like, but like in a good way. Like, it's queer, it's odd, it's like, and like every sense of it, like, if I could ever like describe what it feels to be like out of place in a movie, like this movie captures it. Like, it's like a mix of horror, sci-fi, and like queer allegory and stuff like that. But also like fantasy, and I just it was so good. It haunts me Like, it literally, it's been 2 weeks, and I keep thinking about it, and I won't shut up about it. I've already, like, talked to all my coworkers about it, and I was just like, "Oh, it's such a good movie." So, all this to say, go see I Saw the TV Glow, an A24 film. Find your nearest indie-friendly movie theater and go watch that movie. It's so I love it. I really do.
A couple of weeks ago, I was looking for a movie to go see, and that came up, and I was reading about it, and I saw that it very critically acclaimed, and people
Mhm.
are just really talking about how weird it was, but in a good way, just like you said, and that it was just super like fresh and unique, and very indie, if that makes sense.
Yes.
I wasn't in the mood for that, so I went to go see If instead, which was actually really fun. A kid story with Ryan Reynolds in it. And today I actually went to go see Babes, which has, if you're a fan of Broad City, Elena from Broad City is one of the main characters. She and her best friend, I want to say they're probably in their 30s. One of her best friend has a husband and just had her second baby, and then Elena gets pregnant. But their lives are, even though they're best friends, their lives are very, very different. They are at very different points in their life. And so it's just kind of also a story about what it's like to just be a mom and have a career and like being expected to do everything, and a lot of times feeling like you come up short. So it was really good. I enjoyed it a lot. I had a fun time. I laughed out loud throughout the whole thing. So again, if you're a fan of Broad City, I would highly recommend going.
That's awesome. I do not go to the movies very often. I only go to the movies if it's like going out with like either one of you guys or somebody invites me. But otherwise, I just watch movies streaming. I just love staying home, which is sad in a way. But the one of the movies I just saw that I was not expecting to like at all is The First Omen, and it's streaming on Hulu right now. And I really wasn't expecting what happened. It was really well made, and one of the goriest scenes I've seen in a long time in a horror movie, because you know that all the gory good stuff happened in the 80s. And then they started to just be all like sensitive about it. But there's this scene where this woman was giving birth, and they got really risky with those scenes, and I totally was taken aback, and I was like, oh my God, there's hope for horror yet. So it was really good. The ending, I was a little disappointed with how they rerouted the story, because I am a real big fan of the original Omen movie from the 70s. So a little disappointed in that, but the scenes and the way the story was unfolding, I really enjoyed that. So if you guys have Hulu, definitely check that out. If you do not like scary stuff, do not watch it. Don't watch it. Just don't do it. But if you like it, and please let me know what you think about that. So once you see the scene, you know what I'm talking about. It's really graphic and it's so cool, and I love it. So that's what I recommend, because I'm just love the horror stuff. I love the blood. I love the gore. I love, when you show like somebody eating somebody's insides from their belly. It's love that stuff. All right, guys, now it's time for Chisme de la Semana, and I have some chisme, which is not really chisme, but I'm going to call it chisme. QCon, everybody, come on down. It's a free event, and we're going to be there. So come on down to QCon. Come say hello. It's a great event. It's so friendly and awesome. They do a really great job, and it's on Saturday, June the 15th, and it's going to be in WeHo. I always find times where I could say WeHo, because I don't usually use it in a sentence, but I'm very excited about that. And it's going to take place again June the 15th. The hours are 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. And it's at Fiesta Hall, Plummer Park. It's at 7377 Santa Monica Boulevard, West Hollywood. So check it out. Follow them on Instagram, QCon. Check it out. Do we have any other chisme up our sleeve?
I do have some chisme, actually, and if it wasn't for this recording this very night, which is a Thursday, I would be in Santa Monica right now, fucking watching Jason Momoa and his band play for
Ooh.
free. He has a band called Oof Ta Ta Ta, and they are doing a lot of live performances in the LA area. I guess he lives here. I don't know. But he was going to be at the Bungalow in Santa Monica, which is right on Ocean Boulevard. And he was going to be playing with his band. And also it was part of his marketing tour because he has a vodka. I think it's a vodka, not a whiskey. I think it's a vodka. That he is basically going out and promoting. But it was free. And one of my friends on Facebook who I learned about it from is there tonight and is posting pictures. And I swear it looks like he's so close he could reach out and touch him. So I haven't heard what the music sounds like, but honestly, I don't care.
I don't care.
From the phone book, and I would be like throwing my bra on stage. I was like very disappointed that I missed that, but the achievement is that Jason Momoa is in the band, and if you have your finger on the pulse of what's going on here this summertime, you might be able to catch him for free, or maybe for a nominal fee at some other clubs. But keep your eye out. The name of the band is Oof, OOF, Ta Ta Ta. So that's TATATA. And apparently that roughly translates to almost there.
Ooh, I like it. Another chisme of Jason Momoa is that he is actually dating Eugenio Derbez's daughter. So, or
I don't know who that is, and I'm very upset. I didn't even know that he wasn't with the other person
Monet?
anymore. Yeah,
yeah,
I had no idea.
yeah, they've been separated. I think since the
Yeah.
No,
whole
where he used to talk about her and
yeah.
how, I mean, he's a lot younger than she is.
Yeah.
So I
Mhm.
know that at
Mhm.
least. But the way that he used to talk about her and how he was so like in love and just like he worshipped her, I'm upset now. I honestly can't continue on with this episode.
Aw. But they've been separated for a while now, haven't they?
Yeah.
Where have I been? I don't have cable anymore. I used to be addicted to the E channel. I don't know what the gossip is, and I don't watch TMZ or anything like that. So I'm behind on celebrity gossip.
Oh, well,
Obviously.
then just a little snippet. Eugenio Derbez is a Mexican actor / comedian who was really popular for his series called La Familia Peluche, which I didn't watch. I don't like it.
I
But-
watched it. I loved it.
But what I do like is his more recent work. He is in the series on Apple Plus called Acapulco, which he's really good in. I really, really like that. And so his daughter, obviously Mexican actor royalty, obviously Eugenio Derbez is known all over Mexico and probably a bunch of Latino countries, but his daughter is the one who is dating or married to Jason Momoa. I'm not sure. But yes, I saw a thing on my Facebook that said, oh, Momoa is Derbez's son-in-law. And I'm like, this is false news. So I look into it. I'm like, oh, okay, yes, this makes sense. It must be true. But yes,
Oh,
that
no.
that is our Momoa. Mucho
But is it
Momoa.
true? Is it?
Eh. All right, guys, now it's time for On My Radar. And on my radar, I'm all over the place today. Look at me. On my radar is, I just figured it out today. I was going through Instagram and apparently Sweet Tooth season 3 is out now on
Ooh.
Netflix. I loved the first 2 seasons. I think I only read the first 2 trade paperback, but I really loved the way the story was going, and I really love the adaptation on Netflix. It's just been really great. So I can't wait to get off of recording and go and stream Netflix and then fall asleep and then wake up and then try to stream it on Friday. Again, try to find it for the top. But that is on my radar. Do you have some radar, Chris?
Do I have some radar? I do have radar. So, because I am not in a comic shop presently, and I am not ordering books 3 months ahead of time, and I'm not doing the Tuesday Night Live show with Eddie, highlighting books that are coming out. I did not know that there was this book that Kevin Eastman is actually writing called Drawing Blood. And the premise sounds so interesting. I was like, I'm going to share that. And I'm actually going to see if I can find the issues that are out so far. It debuted in April. It is a 12-issue series. And the book basically is about this guy who has created this global franchise of mutant cats. And he did this all before he was 20. He created it with his best friend in a garage. And if that story sounds very similar to you, it should. And so basically what's happened is that this creator is kind of going through having not really anything to show for it. He created these these characters in a comic that obviously, as his real story went, got picked up by a cartoon series. It became a popular cartoon series, and then a bunch of toys came out and everything. So this book is kind of like kind of poking fun at Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, that obviously Eastman actually wrote and created himself. But this creator in this comic book doesn't really have much to show, because he has made some really bad, poor decisions in his life. I think he is addicted to gambling, addicted to drinking, probably addicted to all kinds of other stuff. And he owes a lot of people a lot of money. And so there's just a lot of like shenanigans that are going on in this storyline. But it just really struck me as interesting and cool and funny, because the story that Eastman is writing, obviously he is pulling from, I don't think, the drug addiction and but who knows? I don't know Eastman personally. But, you know, just the craziness of writing this stupid character storyline and it just taking off. I mean, now we can all be like, oh, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but don't tell me that when that first came out, people were like, what the hell? This is so dumb.
Yeah.
So readers are going to follow the jaw-dropping journey of Shane Bookman, that is Eastman's kind of like character in this book, who is a cartoonist whose real life has become more absurd and action-packed than any comic book story he could ever dream up. So the writers are Eastman and David Avalone together, and the artists are Eastman, Troy Little, and Ben Bishop. The first issue came out in April, which means the second issue was out in May, and the third issue is due out this month on June 26th. So Drawing Blood is the name of the book, and I actually got enough interest in it that I'm going to try to seek out the issues I've missed and catch up and see how good it really is. But it definitely piqued my interest.
All right, guys, it's that time again. Es la hora de la cerveza.
De la cervecita.
Yeah.
How do you say hard seltzer in Spanish?
Duro seltzer.
Would you judge me if I served this over ice?
No.
No,
It's a seltzer. Yeah. I'm gonna grab some ice. You guys continue.
so
Okay.
it's 5% alcohol. It's from Brewery X hard seltzer, and it's a watermelon lime, and it's made with real fruit, apparently, according to this can. This is what it looks like.
So I'm going to tell you that Brewery X actually has multiple flavors of hard seltzer, which I'm sure you know if you bought this, they probably had them all out. And Eddie and I drank the hell out of these during COVID. Yes, because this was during COVID was about the time where I started shying away from IPAs because my tummy couldn't handle them anymore. And also we were stuck in the house, and it was hot in here. And IPA beer does not sound good to me because it's so heavy when it's super hot. I want more of a lager or a pilsner.
Yeah.
And then hard seltzer started becoming very popular. And so when I saw these, I was like, oh, I'm going to try it. And oh my God, I've had this one before. I haven't drank it yet today, but they are some of the best seltzers I've ever had. I am not a Truly fan, or what are some of the other ones?
White Claw.
White Claw or any of those.
I am.
They, like, what's it called? Blows them out of the water with flavor.
Really?
And also,
Really?
it's a 5, whereas normal seltzers are about a 4, 4.2.
I can pretend I'm drinking water or fizzy water. Look at that.
I have never had a Truly or a White Claw, so
Never?
never. So this is going to be interesting.
Oh, no.
Oh. This is really good.
Jen. Yeah, since you said that you're a fan of those other ones, I was like, oh, then I think you'll really like this.
No,
You don't understand. It's been so fucking hot.
No.
And I worked late today because I went, like, the benefits of going in to work later is that it's later, so I get to sleep in
You
more.
suffer at the end instead of at the beginning.
Yeah, pretty much. So, like, it was like, yeah, I got home like at like 8 something, and I was just like, oh my God, I'm home. It feels so hot and gross and sweaty, and now I gotta hop on and record an episode, and I'm gonna be real, I was not about it. I was just like, I'm so tired. I just want to sleep. And even then I
Yeah.
can't because it's so fucking hot. My room is weltering.
Oh, no. The heat, it's 110 degrees today in my hometown.
Whoa.
Yeah. So
I think it was,
not cool.
yeah. No, it was like, if it wasn't 90 degrees, it was really fucking close here. Some people were saying that it was over 90 degrees. And I'm just like, well, at least I'm inside the fucking airport. Like, it's still hot where I work because there's like 4 fucking different refrigerators and 3 different freezers. So,
in their motor.
yeah. But, like, there's still, like, air conditioning from the airport. So I'm like, oh, this has given me more life than vodka.
So most hard seltzers to me are just a teeny step up above La Croix, as far as flavor. And I remember all the people at Heidi Ho used to always laugh and be like, it's a what would they say, an essence of flavor.
Yeah. It's like someone squeezed the lemon right
They just-
beside the
They
water.
just over the fruit in their hand to get that. And so that's how most seltzers taste to me. But this Brewery X brand of seltzers have actual flavor. I mean, it's still a seltzer. It's not overly abundant in flavor. It's not a hard cider. But it's good, and it has a higher ABV than most other seltzers. So you have that going for it. And watermelon lime is really good. I don't remember I had a favorite one. Can't remember what it was called, but it was super, super flavorful.
This one's really good.
Yeah.
Oh, and I'm so stupid. This is a Brewery X.
Not
I
Border Egg.
literally just
Don't get them confused. I always
Yeah.
get it confused with Border Egg.
No, but we've had something from Brewery X before, haven't
Yeah.
Yeah, they're beers.
we?
Well, this one to me, since I don't drink Truly or that other one, This one has a little kind of hint of reminder of the one we reviewed some time ago called Two Chicks Cocktail. Do you remember that? It was a female-owned cocktails in a can that looked like this with flowers.
Oh, I think I do.
Yeah.
They're pretty good.
Yeah, they were good. So this
I
is a
don't
nice kind
remember.
of like similar
Yeah.
kind of a similar kind of flavor to it, but it's definitely distinctly different, and I really am enjoying it. I don't know anything other than it has watermelon and lime, and it's 5%. So I'm happy, satisfactory. I would.
Very refreshing. I think that probably Jen is loving it more than, I don't know if you're hot or not, but it's cool here right now. So, but I have drank this when it's hotter weather and a lot colder than it is now because I had it sitting out for a while. And they're so light and refreshing. It's a perfect summer drink. And actually, I used some of these seltzers when I was making mixed drinks because, of course, I was a barista during those early COVID days, and I was making drinks, mixed drinks, and so mixing this with like Malibu rum and some other things in it just really was a good surprise mixture for me that I really enjoyed. So if you have any favorite mixed drinks that use seltzers, definitely recommend, if you have access to Brewery X, to try it with some of their flavors.
Definitely. Well, I'm getting a whole vibe, and I kind of wish that I had ice to pour this over, but it's still good on its own. So I'm pretty excited about that. What is our rating scale, Kristen?
So we have a 5-point rating scale where 1 out of 5 is very unsatisfied. A 2 out of 5 is just a regular unsatisfied. Right in the middle, 3 out of 5 is neutral. A 4 out of 5 is satisfied, and a 5 out of 5 is very satisfied. And if it goes off the charts, we give it Super Saiyan. So I'll go ahead and start. I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5. I really enjoy it a lot. It's very flavorful. It's very refreshing. I've had them before, and it also gets the job done. I mean, 5 is nothing to sneeze at. So also be careful because a lot of people do prefer seltzers because they don't get overly intoxicated with them very quickly. So keep that in mind. But I'm very satisfied with this drink. How about you guys?
Well, for me, being a person that doesn't drink hard seltzer ever, really, I'm very satisfied. I'm very surprised at how much I actually like it. Excuse me, initially when you drink it, it has like a delicate sweetness of the watermelon.
Mm-hmm.
The little aftertaste at the back of the flavor is the lime that kind of squeezes your tongue just a tiny bit. And then you got the carbonation that really sets the whole mood. So I really, really am satisfied. What about you, Jen?
I am very, very satisfied. This is really, really good. It definitely tastes a lot better. Like, it's more flavorful than a White Claw or any of the other like hard seltzers that I've drank. There was one kind of impressive one. I remember I got it at Target, but fuck me if I can remember its name. But this is really, really good. And it has completely uplifted my spirit. I feel recharged. I feel energized. Yeah. And it's really good. I'm very, very satisfied. I'm very close to giving this a Super Saiyan, but that could just be the heat. So we'll chalk it up to that. I'm gonna err on the side of caution and say 5 out of 5.
Nice. That has been our beverage review. All right, guys, now it's time for our book review. What are we reviewing today? We're single issue is what we're reviewing today.
Yeah.
Is
Lipstick
Cliqa.
Lipstick.
Lipstick.
Lipstick. Cliqa.
Yeah.
I do want to say before we go on into
Happy Pride Month.
that this cover and the art on the cover intrigued me from the beginning. When I was looking at this book in initial orders and an FOC, the art on the cover, I really had to look at it because it actually looks like a photo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the car and just the grittiness of it, I don't know who the cover artist is. Let me see. Rob Pryor and Naomi Griffith was the cover. So I just want to say that before we moved on. And this is a Scout Comics book, and the reason why we chose it, a couple of reasons. As Sarah already pointed out, it is Pride Month, and the creator of this book is Kayden Phoenix, who not only identifies as being LGBTQ plus community member, but also is Latina. So a twofer for us with our review of Lipstick Cliqa. And I'm pointing out that it's Scout Comics because what was interesting to me is that this was not a Chispa imprint comic. Even though Kayden is a Latina, they didn't print it under the Chispa imprint. So I am wondering why. Just out of curiosity, it doesn't honestly matter to me, but I wonder how come they didn't.
Maybe because, I mean, her Chispa line, this seems to be like geared towards all ages, and this is very much a like mature.
Chispa is Scout's Latino imprint.
Oh, I forgot.
What
mind.
you're talking about is A La Brava.
Oh, yeah. Okay, then
so
never mind.
For those of you who may not also be aware, we were introduced and met Kayden around her first book called why do I always forget? Jalisco. It's my favorite one out of all of them, and I always forget what it's called. But she has an all ages world that she created called A La Brava. And they that world is created or comprised of different Latina superheroes. And they all are unique in that they all have different nationalities. And Jalisco, I believe, was from Mexico. And her cool power or skill was that she had knives in her folklorico skirt. And that's how she protected people and defended people. And so that's how we came to know Kayden. And I believe that we interviewed Kayden for Las Pláticas way back in the day when we were still in our studio at Sarah's house. So yeah, so this was a long time ago, and you can go back but this was before we had Las Pláticas on YouTube. It's just a regular episode.
Yes.
Yeah,
Definitely.
so
is there any kind of, I guess we don't have an intro because it's the first issue, so we don't have an intro for that kind of mentions what the story is about. We just went ahead and read the first issue. I believe it's a 3-issue series. So look for that. You can ask your comic book shop to have it on your pull list if you're interested in reading this book. This is a book that is a spinoff of The Night of the Cadillacs, which I have not read, and that was by Rob Pryor. So I'm not sure. Maybe these are some characters that were introduced in Night of the Cadillac, possibly. But we are introduced to Marissa, who is kind of the main character, and her friend Little Snap and Daya. And we're also introduced to 2 other gangs besides the Lipstick Cliqa. We have the Chamberlain.
And I come on and say Chamberlain. It's just Chamberlain. The AIN is pronounced IN.
Okay. And Killtown, which we just get a little brief visit with them, but we don't really know more than those 3 characters as of right now. Off the bat, I have to say it's we start off like going to different cities, I suppose, the Boyles, and
Welcome to the
then
Boyles, which I just assumed was Boyle Heights.
that's what I thought too. Yes.
Yes.
And then we also sent the cemetery. I mean, there's a map at the beginning. It's called East Side Blood World City,
Here's
which
the
I thought was
cemetery.
interesting. Yeah. So we start off and we're at a I guess a bar, and this man wants some chimera, which I found interesting because I'm like, I don't know any drinks that are called chimera. What is this? Is it some kind of drug, or is it a drink, or is it a special brew or whatever? I'm not sure. We never get around to it. Upon seeing the second kind of scene, we are then taken to um Marissa's house where she lives with her grandmother, and her grandmother tells her that she hasn't eaten because she was saving it for her and her sister. Um, but what I just realized right now, she's saving it for her sister Laura and for Marissa. And when she says she hasn't eaten, such you have to eat. But then we see Marissa unfold like I thought it was foil. Um, and then there's 3 little pills, and then they're red, they're blood red. And she's saying you have to eat. So she takes 1 pill and she dilutes it in water and gives it to her grandmother. So what that tells me, because this is the second time I actually go through that, I thought these pills were like her heart pill, like for her health because she's old, or diabetes.
I thought so when that was established that she needed to eat, and then they were having to save it. I'm like, there's some kind of like rationing going on in my mind. This was like some kind of pre or post-apocalyptic situation where it was like Soylent Green, where they had a little pill, and that's how they sustained themselves. Like I really. My mind was just kind of with all kinds of options that I was trying to come up with of what was actually going on. And so I know Sarah pointed out that there was like a little droplet of blood on her mouth. So then I was like, okay, but the drink was red. So it was kind of not set in stone what was going on.
Yeah, and not only that, I mean, when I saw her take the pills out of like this foil, I thought, okay, are those like illegal drugs or are those prescription? So I was like really confused. There's absolutely no narration. All you have are like the panel and of course the dialogue amongst the characters. Then we're taken to a cemetery, and these 3 females are digging up corpses, but I'm not sure why. At this point, I'm not sure why. They're saying they're gonna make money off this, and then on one of the corpses, or their skeleton, they take their gold tooth, and I thought, oh, is that what they're doing? They're just
robbing grave robbers. Yes, I
Yes,
thought they were grave robbers.
Yeah.
But then, Marissa then goes to visit the Chamberlains. Still don't know why. But then we
For her
find
sister.
out. Then we find out that her sister's there. She is a prospect for the Chamberlains, and they don't want to let the Chamberlains know that they're from the poor side of town. So she gets to go in as a possible prospect that her sister has vouched for her. And then we find that they are like they sell drugs, and the drug is this red vial. Still don't know what's in the vial. Of course, it's drugs. I don't know what the drug does, honestly. And she takes some vials with her. And then there's an amazing splash page that I thought was really cool.
Yeah, me too.
That one was like, I thought it was really great artwork. I really like the shading. It looks a little bit monstrous, but at the same time, it's really eye-catching. The colors, it was really well done. But then we're back with the friends. We're back with Little Snap and Daya, and apparently they're trying out the drugs. And this is what really confused me, because I thought this was like Boyle Heights. I thought this was LA. And then they go to a crypt, and then one of, I think it's Little Snap, she makes a comment. She's like, these are over 3,000 years old. And in my mind, I'm thinking LA is not 3,000 years. So now I'm really confused. Are we in LA, or maybe it's a different world that LA is in this world? Am I making sense?
I know I did fictional world.
Yeah.
I think that the boils was made to sound like or be to make you think of
Boyle High.
Royal Heights. But I don't think that it is actually set in a real Los Angeles, just like Gotham City is supposed to be like a New York, I guess, but
Okay.
it's Gotham.
Yes, got it. Okay,
Mhm.
okay. Apparently, they are going to use these corpses in order to extract the blood from them and create a drug. And so then they do some other sampling, and they do take some samples to people, and then they're starting to sell because they need to make money in order for her to feed her grandmother and just, get by. So that was pretty something that I felt that I understood about the story. And we see little snippets where they steal bodies from ambulances, and they steal it from morgue. And then they mentioned that they're using a wood chipper to extract the blood from these corpses. So
I don't think they're extracting. I think they're just
Right.
mushing it all together.
yeah, and apparently their rendition of this drug is really good. It's
It's
better
more
than-
pure.
It's pure.
Yeah, so the bottom line here, Sarah is painstakingly going almost page by page. Sorry.
I just really want to understand.
But the bottom line here is Lipstick Cliqa is the name of their gang, and they are trying to get into the drug business, and they are basically marketing their stuff as more pure than the Chamberlains, that the Chamberlains are money hungry and greedy. So they're cutting their drugs, which most drug dealers do, to make it last longer. And they still charge a lot of money. But this Lipstick Cliqa is producing a better product, and therefore more people are going to want to come to them because it's better and it's same price or cheaper. They're actually giving it away, as good drug dealers do. The first is free. But of course, in any territory war, gang related or drug related or otherwise, the gang who was there first and who has their business already established is not going to take kindly to someone coming into their territory, and that is the conflict that is being set up in this book. So at the end of the day, that was the storyline, but they threw in, I think, and the only reason I know this is because I went online and I looked up what the book was supposed to be about. Apparently, they are vampires.
Yes, I didn't get that.
Which I didn't get. I mean, now what's going on with Grandma makes a little bit more sense visually. The blood or whatever, the little pills could be blood pills. I don't know. How come they can't just bring people on from the street like every other vampire in history in history does? I don't know. That's the thing. We don't know. There's a lot of stuff going on. And why is Grandma a vampire? Is this genetic? Like I don't have a lot. I don't have a lot of answers to a lot of questions that I had once I realized that this was supposed to be a drug dealing vampire gang.
Yes, I agree with that. And one of the things that makes sense about the 3,000-year-old graves, because, vampires live a long time. But also, are they extracting the blood and the crushing their drug out of like 100-year-old corpses that potentially are now just bones?
So exactly. So one of the scenes in the cemetery, they actually say, is that blood? What the hell? And one of the other girls said, how did that get down here? And the other girl said, it doesn't matter. We're going to make bank selling this. So why is there blood in these graves? Because, correct me if I'm wrong, but before they bury you, they drain your blood.
Yeah, you're embalmed.
So
Yeah.
I think that was stuck in there on purpose, to be a little like seed, because that's going to come back at some point in the story of like, why is there blood in these corpses that they're digging up? And if there wasn't blood there, like maybe they were grave robbing and then they found the blood. I don't know.
Just
I think after
I'm sorry, because it's right with. So I'm thinking, why are they so surprised about blood? Does that mean there are no humans and everyone's a vampire, or is just the lipstick Cliqa a vampire? Okay, go ahead.
I don't know. Okay. So you guys had given me like the both of you, when like before we read this, were just like, I can't wait for Jen to read this because I tend to read things a little late or a little closer to recording time, because then my thoughts are fresh. So I had some bias towards it when I was reading it. And I was expecting to like utterly hate it. I read it and I was like, well, I don't utterly hate it. I think it's interesting. And then I actually read the synopsis and never mind, I don't like it. Because everything that was said in that synopsis, you barely get from the book. If your synopsis doesn't match up with what is in your story, you've fucked up. Because if this isn't just a synopsis, like this is a synopsis for issue 1. It's not a synopsis for the whole overarching story. This isn't like a graphic novel back matter kind of thing, or even just like a summary for like once you have all the issues collected. This is a summary. This is a summary of what is, or like what a synopsis should be, like should be a summary of what is in the issue. It shouldn't give everything away. But my fucking God, did this shit just give the entire storyline away? And 2, none of it was in the actual first book. Like how much, it's just, it boggles the mind how you can fuck up with your first issue like this. Like there has to be, you have to reel people in, of course. Like there has to be like something there. And I admit there was something there. When I read it, even with my bias, I was intrigued. I wasn't like, oh my God, blown away, but I was interested. I'm just like, okay, I kind of see like where this is going. I was just kind of like a supernatural gang turf war thing with like some East LA like cultural stuff. But then in the synopsis, you tell me that this is actually East LA. I'm just like, okay, hold on, what the fuck is going on here? Because nothing matches up. 2, like, what culture are you trying to portray here? Because once we look into that and kind of like, there is the chola aesthetic there, and it is drawn pretty well. I will admit that. But the way that it's done seems almost cartoonish. And more like it's hard for me to explain, but it feels like what somebody thinks cholas would act if they were vampires. If the fact that we even include in that they were vampires. Because like, 1, I did see like, oh, there's nary any fucking daylight in here. I guess it all takes place at night. But we don't even really get that either, because we can't even fucking tell that they're vampires. We never get the notion that they're fucking vampires. We only knew that they were vampires from reading the fucking synopsis. If you can't immediately tell me that these women are vampires, like give them fangs or give something. So you're like, oh, like we're vampires, blah, blah, blah. Like what is, like, what's the deal here? Or like, even in the beginning, this map, it makes me laugh because it's so like street takeover I'm just like, is this a permanent street takeover? Why is it on the map? Is just like the eternal street takeover? What's going on here?
It's no longer a takeover. It's an established street racing area.
Yeah. And like, I get a thing for having like things titled like to be on the nose, but like the No Mercy Hospital, then just call it the like You Die Hospital or something like that. Blood World City downtown. What is like, where does this name come from? What does this history come from? And I get that this is supposed to be a spin-off of Night of the Cadillacs, which apparently did really well for Scout. Like, they got a fucking like movie deal out of it back when it was like just coming out.
And honestly, I don't even remember it.
I didn't know about it. So
I'd have to go back. And I ordered Scout. I'm sure it was on the wall, but I don't remember it.
yeah, here's the thing is that Scout actually is like pretty decent. They do come out with some interesting storylines or very unique ones that are if not I don't want to say like there's always like something unique and interesting about them. And they tend to be pretty well done and pretty well written and pretty well edited. So what the fuck is going on here? Like, was there like some creative like clashes? I mean, I could say what I think is wrong, but
one of the things that I found perplexing is that prosthetic, the prosthetic / organ swap meet. I was like, if they're vampires, why do they need prosthetics? I don't know, or organs for that matter. I really want to know: is the whole city vampires, or is it just them that are the vampires? Because if that's the case, then why is everybody hooked on this blood looking like drug?
yeah, is it like a Blade situation going on, or is it does she only work with like the vampires, or do they only interact with like the vampire parts of town and stuff like that? Like in the Chamberlains, like the white face paint that they've gone over, I was just like, oh, are they like, is this like a voodoo gang? Are they like from South Central LA of this mystery fucking world?
This gang idolizes the Joker. That's what fuck.
I got that. So from that new Joaquin Phoenix makeup.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah.
So oh, go ahead.
I'm just, it could be interesting. I think that's what frustrates me more about it is like like the artwork is there. There is an interesting premise. Like vampire gang in a supernatural version of Los Angeles. Like that could be interesting. But at the same time, we had to read the synopsis to find out that one, that they were vampires. Two, there's like no breakdown of like how the city, like they give us a map of what is East LA, but there's nothing East LA about it. You get me?
The only East LA thing is that in that map you can see downtown in the distant background, like near distant background. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense. That measures up with where Boyle Heights is located to downtown. But I didn't even recognize, because I read the synopsis, that it said East LA. I thought it was just a made up. So if you're gonna say that it really is East LA, then why are you making up these names? And if you're called the Boyles, meaning that it's Boyle Heights, then spell it BOYLES.
Like, and I get it, like this is supposed to be some like supernatural version of like Los Angeles or something, but I still like, if you want to like have like a reader base or appeal to the reader base of like Night of the Cadillacs, either have like some allusion to this, or like even, is this a prequel? What is this? Like, because when I was reading, I looked up to see what Night of the Cadillacs was about, And the lipstick clique is mentioned in issue number 2, but the way that they mention it is like they're already established. So what the fuck is this, a prequel? Like how
Right.
they got started up? So
Right.
like where's like what's the suspense here? Like how like, and this is why I don't really like prequels, because I'm just all like, I don't really care how you ended up here. You're here already. Like
We are now back to Furious.
yeah. Honestly, yeah. That like the end, like like the road here or whatever. If I didn't already start with where the road began, I'm not interested.
Right. Yeah.
I wanted to mention something else. I think this book had a good potential. Well, this is only issue 1 of 3. And if you didn't tell me there were vampires in the first issue, just kind of depended on me having read Night of the Cadillac, which I didn't. I think a little like foreword would have helped, or even a narration throughout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like some monologue would have been fucking great. I mean, if this reads a little bit like kind of like one of those noir kind of things where you could have had her, saying, grandmother's always saving up the blood for us when she's the one that needs it the most.
Yeah. That's another thing. Oh, like in the synopsis, she's like she's like Morissa, like the like fearless leader of the lipstick clique, like using her like razor whip. I'm like, bitch, where? I never fucking saw it.
Oh, I see a whip somewhere, but I think it was just in the back matter where one of the artists drew it. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. Okay, so my biggest problem with it was that I'm a big vampire fan, vampire
Same.
stories, everything. I'm obviously a big fan of stories about Latinas.
Yeah.
And I live in Los Angeles. And my thing was that if you're gonna go the fucking brown people doing crime trope, make it unique. Make it something interesting. Make it like these are fucking vampires and you still got them selling drugs in the neighborhood. Like,
Yeah.
I don't get that. Like, we can't even glow up being supernatural.
Yeah.
No, playing good.
Yeah. They don't, still got us worrying about, because she's worried like, I gotta get enough money for like my grandmother and my sister. Like, damn, bitch. Like, we still struggling, huh? Like, we got supernatural vampire powers or whatever the fuck. Like, but
do
no.
We don't. Oh,
Actually, yeah, no, we don't. She never uses any of it. This presumably only takes place at night. But
Well,
I don't fucking know. Maybe the smog has gotten so bad it's blocked out the sun. I don't fucking know.
mm-hmm.
The only way I know that they have super strength is this. I have dug holes in my lifetime. Let me tell you, it is not an easy thing to dig a fucking hole. Okay. And for her to do it in a short skirt in the middle of the night with her long nails and I think heels, she has super fucking powers.
Yeah.
That's all I
Yeah,
can
it's
say about
hilarious.
that.
Oh my god.
So and then and it's yeah, brown people in the hood doing crime at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And I feel like if this is a spinoff, I think that a lipstick Cliqa story going more into who, like, character development, how they knew each other, how they grew up, like, I don't know, like some kind of actual story that was interesting about who they are as individuals. Instead, we get this story about drug dealing and gang wars.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that is such a tired trope for Latinos, such a tired trope for Los Angeles and East Los Angeles specifically. And it, to me, is borderline fucking racist.
Yeah.
Let me just
No.
say that I had to read on the internet what this book was supposed to be about and also what the other girls' names were because they didn't say them in the book except for Little Snap. But they said something Snap, and I just thought it was just like slang. I didn't know that it was the character's name, Little Snap. And Daya, we never even hear her name. So the only one we know is Marissa. And I feel that if this is a 3-issue series, we should have more story in this first issue.
Right, it's 3 issues. I have so many questions. They're not gonna solve all of that in 3 fucking issues. Holy shit! Like the pacing is so bad because presumably also while they're slinging drugs and then towards the end where like they're like trying to establish themselves or something. There's a period of time, but why does this read like it all happened in one night?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, where are your what the pacing, the progression of time, the characters? There's everything about this book is shallow. It really truly is. There's like no depth. There's nothing to hook or there's nothing to. We have read multiple single issues where we've been like, oh my god, I can't.
I wanna
like,
know more,
I'm
yeah.
hooked. I want to know more. Whereas in this, I'm just confused. And if I had picked this up and I like flipped through it in a shop, I would put it right back down. Like, honest to God. It's no wonder that there's no fucking issue number 2 since November.
Wow. I did not realize that.
There is not an issue number 2. This came out in November 2023 and an issue number 2 has not been printed.
Again, I don't know if we've ever discussed this here on the show. Sorry if we have, but it's worth it to revisit, even if we have, is that Scout itself is going through a lot of issues. And that's not a pun.
No, that's right. Oh my god, there was something on Twitter. That's right. Oh, now that's cheesy. Yeah.
Called out for not paying their creators. The Chispa people are complaining about how they haven't been paid. A lot of creators are complaining about how they haven't been paid. Scout, actually, I just saw in one of the retailer groups has rebranded themselves. I feel like I read that they partnered with some other defunct publishing company that had kind of been either not publishing very much or wasn't publishing at all. And they partnered with them to rebrand themselves and come back under that name because some retailers were talking about what the heck is going on. I see some titles, but now it has this publisher's name on it, but this is a Scout title. And there was a lot of confusion and some people were coming in underneath saying, this is what's happening. So there is a lot of chisme around what's going on with Scout. And I am super sad about the fact that one of the first Latinx imprint that gets picked up by an indie publisher and then the indie publisher shits the bed. Really, really sucks. Luis Aldama,
Professor?
and had some books. So this whole Chispa thing, am I making that up with Aldama being somehow involved? But Hector Rodriguez and another name, I'm sorry, I forgot.
Yeah, no.
El Peso Hero guy,
Yes.
is the person I think that was at the helm of Chispa.
Yes.
But they came out with Black Demon
Tail.
Tales. Thanks, Romina.
Thanks, Romina.
Yeah, Mashbone and Grifty. Yeah, all those books were being published by Chispa. And I think 100% they've all been affected by what's going on with Scout.
Well, I know that the team behind Mashphone and Grifty went through a lot in order to keep their characters with them, because this whole thing is going on with Chispa. It's maybe we should get more information and address this, but it sucks because they had a lot of great Latinx creators, writers, artists, and people with great stories. And then for this to come out in such a way that it just, I'm like, why, even as vampires, we're still slanging freaking drug. It's like, and then for this book to be not under the Chispa imprint, that's also surprising as well. Like, it's straight out Scout Comics. So I don't know. Also, like, I wanted to mention that Lipstick Cliqa had a Mexican style beer lager that came out with the cover
Really?
of the comic. Yes, it was canned by Tarantula Hill Brewing, and they are located in Thousand Oaks, and it's a Mexican lager. So I didn't buy it at the time.
I heard of that brewing company. How did we have something from them?
I don't recall, but they came out with the cover art of this specific issue on their can.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that was real cool. So I guess what happened is they, were bringing out the big guns in order to promote this comic as well. So, I mean, there's a lot going on. We don't know the whole backstory behind Scout Comics, Chispa comic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Chispa. Comics is a salty and fickle bitch.
Yeah, that's true.
I almost spit out my water when you said that. So I think we're actually ready to rate it. I went kind of almost scene by scene because it is the first issue and because we were supposed to get captivated in some way to the story, the synopsis that's on the Scout Comics website, and it just didn't reflect that when I was reading it. So that's why I thought I'd bring that up. There's supposed to be 2 issues out anyway, so I didn't feel like I was spoiling anything. Just had to address the questions I had as the development of the story. Tell us what our rating scale is, Kristen.
So we rate our books on a 1 to 3 concha rating scale. 3 conchas being the best because that's the most that Jen's mom ever let her have in one sitting. And if a book goes above that and off the charts, we have our own unique, interesting take on our rating scale. So I'm gonna sit with it for a minute and I'll let you guys go.
Well, you know what? I mean, off the review of the big questions I had throughout the story and how it didn't match up with the synopsis that was on the Scout website. The art was great.
I enjoyed the art, and I enjoyed the back matter pinup. This chola hot sauce, which is like a take on Cholula, Nana's best, and obviously this is the red stuff that everyone is after. That was cool, and this like chola sketch that looks like little puppet from Cell Block 8 drew it. I really thought was cool. But the art itself is actually, I enjoyed it. This is gonna be kind of a big compliment, but the coloring and the tones and even some of the art is reminiscent to me of like a Francavilla kind of vibe. And he's one of my favorites. And that caught my eye right off the bat. So I really enjoyed the art too.
Yeah, the art is what is going to play my my rating as 1 concha.
So I'm actually glad you said that because that is, I think, the same for me. The art is also going to be the reason why I give it, not in a bad way, the reason why I give it at least 1 concha, because the art was really good. I really enjoyed it. I'm not familiar with the artist, but I think the vibe that it gave goes well with the story that was supposed to have been told.
Mm-hmm. Well, you guys did remind me that I actually did like the artwork, because I was gonna give it no contrast, TBH.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
but the artwork was really good. I really did enjoy it. I like how everything was drawn and colored and shaded. Honestly, my main problem is with the story line itself and just how jumbled and mixed up it feels, and how we don't really get a good sense of progression in it. But the artwork itself is really, really good. I really do like it. I think that cover art is amazing, because I remember when I first saw it, I was just like, "Oh damn, what is it?" I mean, I like it. I even like the outfits that they choose to wear, and like all the tattoos that they have. I'm just like, it looks really cool. So I'll give it half a concha. 1/2.
And the sugary yummy parts have all fallen off.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're eating it like that. No coffee.
No,
No coffee.
And it's a little
dry.
hard.
Yeah, just a little bit hard.
Yeah.
Like a struggle meal.
Yeah, you just
That's
have
what this
to,
is. This is a
you just-
struggle meal.
you have to like chew it until it gets a lot of saliva, so before
Or you gotta sprinkle a little water in it and put it in the microwave. It's a struggle meal. This is what this book is. It's a struggle meal.
yeah. That
Have
has
a concha.
been
And that's all you're getting.
our book review. All right, guys, time for En la Libreria. Jen, what do you have for us today?
So today I have ZETA Galaxy Outlaws #1, an anti-capitalist space western. The good, the bad, and the exploited on the final frontier. A 24-page comic. So, this really grabbed me because I like the picture / like little video that they put, like their campaign video, has this like really smug looking like young woman, or they them, that says Tex Wyatt Outlaw, and she's just like looking or they're just looking like directly at you. They're like with a really like yeah, I got caught. So this is being done by Kenneth Laster, who's a cartoonist whose previous work includes Try Not to Die, Champions of the Wolf, and Off into the Sunset. They have created 2 previous Kickstarters that have two overall, with this one included. So they had one successful Kickstarter called Try Not to Die #1, which was they titled as a brutal omni horror comic. So the synopsis that they have here for the story of the campaign is ZETA Galaxy Outlaws, the next generation of galactic peacekeepers wants you. Introducing the New Voices trademark Ranger Cadet program presented by the Conglomerate Corps in association with C-Mobile trademark. We are seeking vibrant and diverse individuals ready to champion the cause of peace throughout the galaxy. As a cadet, you will receive unparalleled mentorship from industry leaders, immersing yourself in the core tenets of our thriving conglomerate colonies: peace, progress, and profit. The top candidate will receive an exclusive invitation to join the ranks of the Rangers and carve their name into the annals of galactic history. Greatness is calling. Will you answer? And then that's the little campaign that they have on here. And then the actual story. So humanity has taken to the stars, pioneered by the elite few in search for the unending profit. When it comes to protecting and serving the status quo of the new frontier, the Rangers of the ZETA Galaxy stand ready. These celebrity peacekeepers bleed, fight, and kill to deter any outlaws and agitators who would dare challenge the bottom line of the conglomerate. When the opportunity arises for a second-generation spacer from a dead-end mining planet to become the first black woman in the ranks, Tex Wyatt leaps at the chance to make galactic history. Enhanced with cybernetics and sponsored by the wealthiest arms manufacturer in the galaxy, Tex's first assignment puts her on a collision course with the radical outlaw Vega Corazon. In a world where the line is blurred between outlaw and activist, Tex will need to question her worldview to become the greatest hero the galaxy has ever seen. And then they have like a splash like character page of Tex Wyatt, and they're so cute. And they also have one of Vega Corazon, the villain / maybe anti-hero, who's also really, really good. So the about page is Zeta Galaxy Outlaws combines the sharp satire of Sorry to Bother You with the space western genre fusion of cowboy bebop. Writer-artist Kenneth Laster from Try Not to Die, Champions of the Wolf brings you this dynamic 24-page first issue that opens the door to a galaxy-spanning story about Black excellence, commodification of identity, and finding another way to live. Then they have a show covers. The first cover is the one that I had talked to you about before, where they have Tex Wyatt Outlaw, and she's just looking directly at you pretty smugly. And now with alongside Vega Corazon, who we now know, and one other person, so I don't know who that is. And then they have another version of the cover one. There seems to be three different covers. Then they have some preview pages that you can see. The artwork is really good. Like, it's so really nice. And it fits like what I really, really love about kind of like these like cyberpunky stories where you've got like the neon bright lights and stuff like that and like futuristic technology. And it looks really, really good. So you can always pledge without expecting a reward, but the base pledge starts off at $5, where you will get the digital PDF of Zeta Galaxy Outlaws. And then at $8, you get the digital deluxe. So you receive a PDF copy of Try Not to Die #1, behind-the-scenes content, original character designs, and the 6-page side story of Vega Corazon and The Date with Destiny. And then at $12, you get Zeta Galaxy Outlaws #1 cover A. So I think this is the physical. Get a physical and digital issue of Zeta Galaxy Outlaws cover A. So at $12, you get the physical copy. At $14, you get cover B. And at $15, you get cover C. And cover C is a limited edition holofoil cover. And this is being done by Buttercup. So I believe, yeah, so that's why that has a higher price tag. It's going to be a holofoil one. And then at $20, you get the physical and digital issues of Zeta Galaxy Outlaws #1 with behind-the-scenes content, along with a physical copy of Try Not to Die #1 and the Get to Know Us digital bundle. So that's really, really cool because honestly, I saw the artwork for the previous campaign of Try Not to Die issue #1, and it looks really, really cool. And then at $35, you can get all 3 covers. Get all 3 covers of Zeta Galaxy Outlaws #1, all the physical ones. And then there is a retailer package. That's $40, and you get 5 copies of Zeta Galaxy Outlaws #1 of 2 covers of. Well, what is it? Okay, you get 5 copies of cover A, 2 copies of cover B and C, and free shipping. So that's actually pretty cool. And then it keeps going on from up there, but this looks really, 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 really cool. And like the artwork is amazing. I love the premise already. Like I love space. Like I love space. I love westerns. I love like this kind of like will they won't they vibe that they have in some of this artwork that seems to be like, not to compare apples and oranges, but this is how you fucking do in issue #1. I'm just saying. They gave us a brief preview of like who like summaries of the creators. We already mentioned Kenneth Laster, who's the writer and artist. He is a cartoonist and comics critic from Atlanta, Georgia. He's most known as the co-creator and artist of Try Not to Die. He was a finalist in Negative Space Pitches competition and has digitally self-published Champions of the Wolf and has written and drawn short comics apart from Off Into the Sunset and Big Hype 3 anthologies, and has collaborated with Nicholas Ponalame and Darius on Ashes, Infinite Fears, a part of the Fairy Tales from Mars anthology, with Mark Stack on Love, Love, Love. And then he gives special thanks to the color assistants from Arif Kudus and Maria J. Then Reed Hinckley Barnes is the letterer. Reed Hinckley Barnes is a comic book letterer and writer based in San Francisco, California. You can find his lettering on a variety of different indie comics, such as Worlds Away, I Summoned Cthulhu to Fund My Kickstarter, Control Z, and others all across Kickstarter. He's also the writer of comics like the sci-fi adventure Into the Deep. The algorithm knows me. And the ongoing fantasy webcomic Hero of a Legend. When he's not reading, writing, or lettering comics, Reed works as a special education teacher at a local middle school. Krista Harada, who's the editor, has a BA in English literature and an MFA in creative writing. Their bylines include Panel by Panel, Multiversity Comics, Comic Book Yeti, Comfort Food Comics, The Valkyries, and Outright Geekery. They blog about horror films, comics, and pulp lit in their spare time. They're also available for podcast appearances. Krista edits indie comic strips, refines pitches, and provides other editorial services. Yes, queen! Contact knowledgeablecabbage@gmail.com with info on your project needs for rates and availability. Andre Lucan is the logo design. Joey Galvez is the book design and layout. And that's what they have on there for now. Definitely check it out. I think it looks amazing. It looks really well done and really well thought out. They have a goal of $2,500. They're currently at $1,087 with 80 backers and 22 days to go. This looks so good. Definitely check it out. ZETA Galaxy Outlaws, and ZETA is ZETA Galaxy Galaxy for those of you who can't spell. I'm so sorry. The American school system failed you. And then Outlaws, not me digging and then mispronouncing. Outlaws is OUTLAWS, #1 on Kickstarter.
All right, guys, now it's time for Juntos y Fuertes. Kristen, what do you have for us today?
So today I have for you a website called bricksandwichclothing.com. And let me just tell you a brief little story. So I was at breakfast at this place called Ubuntu in Long Beach. And I was with my running group there. And this woman comes walking out with a t-shirt on that had the word Gen X on the top. And then underneath it said, no filter, no fuss, no fuck. And of course, the U in the fuck had a little star so that it wasn't actually spelling the word out. But the letters were in rainbow, so like for pride. And I yelled at her across the restaurant as she was leaving, "Oh my God, I love your t-shirt." And she said, "Oh, thank you." And then she said, "You can get it on my website." And so she came over and she told me that the website was bricksandwichclothing.com. And I said, "Oh, that's so awesome. I'm going to talk about you on my podcast." I explained to her Juntos y Fuertes, which I said is the segment on our podcast that we highlight projects by other marginalized groups, because the podcast itself specifically highlight the Latinx representation in the comic book industry. And she said, "Oh my God, let me also give you or show you my book." And she gave me a copy of this called What a Bleep Mama. It is a book that says moms, aunties, grandmas, zero filters, no fuck. And so it is kind of just a cute little, I would say children's book, but it's not. It says basically, "Welcome to What the Fuck Mama, a celebration of unapologetic women, audacious stories, and the power of being true to oneself. And it's written by Shayla Height, who is the woman that I saw that had the Gen X shirt on, and it's illustrated by Ray Anthony Height. And when I opened the book, I got it home and opened it, and I saw that name under illustrated. I'm like, that name sounds familiar. And I Googled it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, he's done things for Lion Forge. He's done things for Marvel. He's done things for DC. He actually has done a lot of illustration in the industry. So I'm like, oh, that's why this name sounds familiar. So he did the illustration here in this book, and we start out a little story about Mama and how Mama has her first vibrator, but it's a big thing here. It's an actual like back massager, but have you ever seen the episode on Sex and the City?
Yes.
Where yes, Samantha has the big one, and she stops going out and being social because she just wants to stay home with her vibrator.
Incredible.
So it's just a cute little story. Again, not necessarily for kids. And then we have a story about an auntie who is babysitting, and her nephew is like, I can't breathe. And the auntie's like, come on, don't be a baby. You know, I smoked when you begged to come over here. And she says, put your head out the window. So it's just a really cool, fun book, and I'm so glad that the serendipity of us meeting like that in Long Beach and her sharing this book with me. I don't know if you can get this book on their website because I was looking and all I see is t-shirts, and there's multiple t-shirts on the site. There are shirts that say raised by an Asian mom with no filter. There's also one that says raised by a Latina with no filter. Take your best shot. Save black coochies. There's just a lot of cool shirts on here. And of course, I'm just guessing, but I'm thinking based on what I saw and based on her shirt that Shayla and her husband are both Gen X. There's a shirt on here that says, I'm not a baker. I don't sugarcoat anything. We need that for Jen.
I think personally during my review, I was very restrained.
So the website again is bricksandwichclothing.com, and it just like it sounds, BRCKSANDWICHCLOTHING, brickclothing.com. The t-shirts are $25. There's also sweatshirts that start at $45. And there's a whole bunch of different sayings on here that I'm sure people will find one that fits them specifically. So I loved the book. I love the website, and definitely check them out and give them some love.
All right, guys, now it's time for Saludos. And Saludos goes out today to Edgar Preciado from at Beer Thug Life on Instagram, or for his brewing, it's at Beer Thug Brewing Company. And earlier this week, I saw a post that Edgar got a award at the City of Bell for a new upcoming Business of the Year. So we are super happy that Beer Thug Brewing Company in the City of Bell is doing so amazing, and it's just really great because we knew them before they were so huge. So big shout out to them. But also, as I was reviewing that information on Instagram, I came across another post that says early morning at 10 a.m. in the city of Compton, owner of Beer Thug Brewing Company, Edgar Preciado, was a victim of an act of gun violence. We are feeling blessed that Mr. Preciado's injuries are deemed minimal by the staff at St. Francis Medical Center, and that he is recovering from this cruel endeavor. The police is currently investigating the incident at this time, and we have no further information on the person or persons responsible for the attack. Basically, and then after that, right before this podcast started, I went again on Instagram and I saw that Edgar, had posted a video and told us a little bit about what happened. So basically, when the video starts, his whole head is bandaged up, which I immediately was like freaked out from the image. But also seeing him talking and, you know, walking about, I knew that he was okay. So basically, he showed us that basically there were bullets that went into the back of his SUV, completely shattering the back window, and then one of the bullets hitting the rear view mirror, and one of the bullets went through the back headrest of the driver's
Oh
seat.
my God.
And that's what he says basically saved his life.
Mhm.
Yes. So he is recovering from that, and we just send a lot of prayers and just hopefully a swift recovery. And we're just so surprised that something like this can still be happening. I mean, I know we do live in Compton. I know Edgar and Maria, and we live in Compton, but this shouldn't be happening. And obviously, this was I'm sure he wasn't the target, but it's just so sad that we're not safe in our city. And even though the post started off initially was like giving him accolades for the fact that he got the new business award, and I was really happy about that. And then coming across these other news about what happened to the family, it's just like it sucks. But we really want to encourage everybody that's out there listening or watching us on YouTube to, if you're in the city of Bell or in around the city of LA, check out Beer Thug Brewing Company in the city of Bell and have some drinks. I'm sure they really will appreciate the support. So that's our saludos today. All right, guys, that brings us to the end of this episode. You can find us at comadresycomics.com, where you could find all this cool information about us. You can watch us on YouTube. If you're watching us now, hello. You can see us post on our social medias, which is Instagram and also Facebook. Not too much on the Twitter or X, but we're around. So just contact us if you need
We're there.
to contact us. Also, we're going to be at QCon. It's a free event, so come on down if you want to say hello. That would be totally awesome. We always like to see fans out in the wild. Thank you so much for listening. We have been your hosts. I'm Sarah.
I'm Kristen.
And I'm Jen.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
And that's on Period Network.